So, you want to record some audio? Doing a remote project? One of those collaborative YouTube videos that everybody seems to be doing these days? Well, before you just have a go, let's cover some stuff that you'll need so you can record and sound like a pro. The first thing you need is the easiest to find. You'll need something to listen to your audio track on with headphones so you can play to it. You do need to use headphones because we only want to record you playing, not the backing track. To do this, you can use either a phone, laptop, Chromebook, anything that you have laying around that can play a video or audio track. What you choose doesn't really matter so long as you can use it with headphones. The next piece of gear you'll need is something to record yourself playing. We're going to go over 3 basic setups that many people choose to use, and you can find out what will work best for you. First, and probably the most basic, is just to use a laptop or Chromebook or whatever you've got laying around that's a computing device. All of these have microphones and are able to record audio pretty well. Most of them have an app or program called something like Voice Recorder or something like that. These are super user-friendly. All you need to do is click record and you're going. If you do choose this option, be sure to do a couple sound checks before you do a real take. If you're too close to the microphone, you might be overdriving it, which will sound distorted. Kind of like a punk rock superstar. Which we want to try to avoid. Nobody wants to listen to an overdriven cello. Or maybe you do, I don't know. But we're looking for something good and clean. A second good option for most people is to use a smartphone. Most modern smartphones have an app that's labeled something like HD audio recording or something like that. Be sure you have it set to capture WAV format if you have the option, with a minimum bit depth of 16 and a sampling rate of at least 96 kilohertz. If you don't know what any of that means, that's okay. Just make sure it's set up like that. This is how you capture HD quality audio. If you have an option on your device, you may want to choose to adjust the gain as well. Gain is the amount that you are boosting the signal that's being recorded. If you're looking at the master level, and if your phone has that option, we want it consistently to be between -18 and -12 and not peaking, meaning going higher than -6. If all of that is gobbledygook and you have no idea what on earth any of that means, just use the normal capture feature and it will probably sound okay. Again, just make sure that you are not overdriving the mic, because nobody wants to listen to that. A final option is if you have a small at-home recording studio, you can obviously use that to record audio. If you have this setup, you probably already have a DAW that you're familiar with, and you probably know how to use your audio interface. The main thing you need to contend with if you have this setup is what type of microphone am I going to choose to record my instrument. For string instruments, violin, viola, cello, bass, guitar, a large diaphragm condenser microphone will almost always be a good choice. If you don't have one of those, a small condenser mic will work well, especially for violin or viola, or higher-pitched instruments, guitar as well. Just remember that if you are using a condenser mic, you're going to need to turn on your phantom power. Otherwise, you're not going to get much signal. If you don't have a condenser microphone, the next best choice would be some sort of dynamic mic, the industry standards being a Shure SM57 or SM58. If you have a USB mic, those can work as well. You probably have something laying around that works if you have a small home studio, so just find something you're comfortable with and whatever it is will probably sound just fine. Now that we have our gear situation sorted out, we need to figure out a location to record. There are 2 main things we want to avoid when recording: background music and reverb. Obviously, we don't want to have background noise in our recording, so if your neighbor is chainsawing a tree or your brother is yelling at the Xbox while playing Fortnite, that's not a good time to record. Also keep in mind that some mics are more sensitive than others. If you have your own home studio set up and you're using a condenser microphone, know that they will pick up pretty much everything, so be mindful of a ticking clock or even a fan that you could consider to be background noise. We want to pick the quietest possible location so that when you are recording, you'll get the best results. The second thing we want to avoid is reverb. This is a fancy audio engineer term for what happens when sound bounces off surfaces and comes back to the listener, or in our case, the microphone. Think of standing on a concert stage and yelling, "Whoa!" The sound is going to travel out, bounce off of the ceiling and the walls and the seats, and will eventually bounce back to you. This is reverb. To avoid reverb, it is best to find a space with as little hard surfaces as possible because they reflect sound more than a carpeted area. Some vocalists will even go so far as to record themselves in a closet full of clothes to help deaden the sound. However, as an instrumentalist, we probably can't do that. In general, it's best to be in the middle of a large carpeted area as the carpet will eat up much of the sound that is likely to create reverb. If you don't have a space like that, just find the largest quiet space with the fewest hard surfaces and go right in the middle for the best results. So now we have our gear and we have our location. Awesome, what's next? The sound check. Prior to doing any actual takes, it is best to test out your setup to make sure what you're recording is going to be good quality. For a quiet instrument such as an acoustic guitar, you'll want to have the mic close to your instrument. For guitars, it's helpful to also have the mic pointing towards the body since that is where the sound is coming from. If you play a louder instrument such as a cello or a violin or viola, you may want to place the mic a little farther. Keep in mind with these instruments, the sound is coming out of the F-holes on the front of your instrument, so you want to make sure that you are facing towards the mic when recording. As mentioned before, we don't want to overdrive the mic, so if it sounds dirty or distorted during the sound check, move your microphone farther away or decrease the gain if you have that option. Alright, so you completed your sound check? Sweet, time to record, right? Well, almost. Let's go through our checklist to make sure everything is really ready. Do you have your device to listen to the audio with headphones? If so, check. Do you have the sound device that you're going to be recording on? Check. Did you tune your instrument? Oh shoot, I forgot to do that. Once you did, check. Are you in a good location to record with no background noise and minimal reverb? If you answered yes to all of these, we're finally ready to record. Whew. One pro tip that will make the process a little bit easier. Be sure that you restart your recording device first and then start the click track that you're playing along to afterwards. Otherwise, you'll have this mad scramble where you're trying to turn one thing on and then rush back, get in place, and then record. It's even easier if you have a second audio engineer to hit the record button. If you can do that, I highly recommend it. Remember, we can always edit out stuff that's before or after your take, so don't sweat that. We just want to make sure that you're comfortable as possible when playing the music that counts. When you're recording, feel free to do as many takes as you wish, and just submit your best one. Just know that Mr. M typically does 5 in a row before even listening back to any of them, so you can do it however you choose. And don't feel bad if you have to do a lot of takes. Even seasoned professional session musicians have been known to do 20+ takes to get it just right. And if we're honest, the audio engineer does most of the work behind the scenes, secretly editing things that you don't even know they're editing. In fact, many pop artists will do 10 to 20 takes and they will edit down to the syllable to get everything to sound as perfect as possible. Just know that you're probably never gonna get an absolutely perfect take, so just pick the best one to submit. So that's it. Now you can record like a pro, or at least a semi-pro, or an amateur, however you feel about it. Just remember, if you get frustrated when you're recording, you can always record tomorrow, or the day after that, or next week. You have time on your side. Thankfully, you don't have that record contract and a record executive breathing down your neck for your next #1 hit single, so you can take your time and enjoy the process. Remember, when recording, above all else, have fun and just do your best. Happy practicing.